I like some of the kind of like the newer school metal stuff, like As They Dine and August Burns Red. I don't shy away from like some dubstep, some Skrillex. But I'm gonna be completely honest. Sometimes I like some like mainstream pop songs, like that what's her name, Olivia Rodrigo or something.
Stop it.
She's
You
got a
listen
bit.
to Olivia Rodrigo? That's my cup of tea.
Listen,
What's your favorite
l-
song?
it's whatever the one is that everyone the one that's on the
Driver's
radio.
license?
No. The it's like the come on,
Good
the
for
big
you?
pop one. That's the one. That's the one. Listen, sometimes a good pop song gets me going.
Question number 5. What is your biggest gym pet peeve?
Oh, guys who take their shirts off in the middle of the gym to like look at themselves in the mirror, or even just like pulling the shirts up, to like look at their abs. Yeah, that's one that doesn't fly. That's what the locker room is for.
You're like, wait till you get home at least, right?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Question number 6. How do you spend a day off?
Let's see. Okay, we got right there. I try to play my guitars, spend some time with the dog, and just spend some time at home with the family. I'm very much a homebody. I like to be home. I like to, just relax and let this beat up body.
How's it going, everybody? Andrew Zarian here, Wrestling Observer Live. We're here every day, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern, and Sundays, 6 p.m. Eastern. And man, I am pumped for today. AEW Revolution happening in 2 hours, actually in an hour. The pre-show's about to start, so there's a lot of wrestling on that pre-show. We're going to talk about that, obviously. Big night, man. Big night. AEW Revolution. A lot of people are pumped. You know, there's a certain level of excitement that you get for these pay-per-views when they're not monthly for a company. I'm a big fan of these monthly pay-per-views, depending on how it goes. But this has been pretty cool, this experiment of quarterly pay-per-views and doing it that way. And you're paying $50 for this show. You better get something good, and I think we're going to get something great tonight. Today on the show, obviously, we're going to be talking about AEW Revolution. That starts right after we're done with this. We got the WWE MSG show. I got a lot to say about this. Being a New Yorker, being someone that, loves the Garden, loves going to shows there, I got a lot to talk about because there was a lot of hype. That was maybe a little manufactured hype coming from WWE and coming from the internet. A lot of people expected so much for tonight, for last night at that Garden show. About 8,700 people in the building. Okay. Not great for being at the Garden, but, New York is a saturated market right now. They've come back a billion times since the beginning of all this. So we're going to talk about that. Live Rampage and SmackDown results. Rampage was a fantastic show. Great opener, man. Holy moly. That match was great. We're going to talk about that. We are going to take some time and talk about that Vince McMahon interview with Pat McAfee on Thursday. Vince wearing sneakers, tighter jeans than me, and a button-down and blazer. Loved it. A lot of interesting stuff you got from there. And you got to see Vince out of character a little bit, which is always fun. Another huge story here. Tony Khan buys Ring of Honor. And Joel Pearl of Fightful overbooked on with us. Right after this break, coming up. Wrestling Observer Live Sports Byline. We'll be right back after this.
Body be lazy sometimes.
I hope you guys all enjoyed this Q&A with Alex Hammerstone. I'll see you on the next video. Enjoy the rest of Wrestling Observer Live.
Wrestling Observer Live. Andrew Zarian here, Sunday edition. Big pay-per-view night. AEW Rampage coming on in less than an hour here with their pre-show. Pay-per-view starts at 8 p.m. on BR Live and, of course, on Fight if you're listening internationally somehow to this. Talking about international. Well, not really international. Up north of me. A little up north. I'm going to introduce my guest here, Joel Pearl, the third man of the Mat Men podcast, unofficially, of Fightful Overbooked. Joel, what's going on, man?
Thanks for having me, Andrew. It's a nice excuse to come on and talk a little bit of shop, and also not have to be the Mat Men connection is now the Wrestling Observer Live connection. We're expanding here.
I'm a little everywhere now. I'm doing like 18 wrestling shows a week. I never thought my life would take me down this path, but it is. Listen, I'm living the dream, man. I can't complain. Things are going great right now. Knock on wood. I don't want to jinx anything. I'm knocking on wood right now. Big night tonight. Obviously, you're doing a watch along. I'm also doing a watch along right after this show. I'll be live on the Wrestling Observer YouTube account on F4W Online. You can go check it out there. We're going to be doing our watch along, the F4W watch along, I guess now. No longer the Mat Men watch along. It's crazy how that works out. But there's so much to talk about. Obviously, we're going to run down this card. We have 45 minutes left on the show to talk about it. But I want to get started with the big story of Wednesday night, and that was Tony Khan buying Ring of Honor. I'm going to break down what my day was like to kind of give people some insight on this. The rumor of the big announcement was coming, and a lot of people were speculating. And, you know, Tony mentioned it a week prior, and it gave people 1 week to kind of speculate and to guess and to assume what's happening. A lot of the assumptions were that there was an HBO Max deal for a streaming provider. Some of it was that there was a tape library that was purchased. I saw a lot of people guess that he was purchasing Ring of Honor. Not that they knew, but I think a lot of people just felt it. They felt that's a big groundbreaking announcement, and turns out they were right. Tony Khan buys Ring of Honor. I started getting the messages early in the morning that day. A couple of people within WWE reached out to me. A couple of people from AEW reached out to me, and it seemed like WWE was very certain that this was a streaming service deal. And the words that were used to me, and which I found funny here, because somebody outside of WWE on a network side, has nothing to do with wrestling or WWE, mentioned that they had heard that Tony had secured the rights to an international promotions tape library. And to me, and I knew it wasn't going to be New Japan because they weren't going to get that. But, you know, WWE was very convinced also that they had bought a Japanese company's tape library. And the speculation rolled, and then I get a call around 4:30 p.m. saying, hey, Tony's buying Ring of Honor. That's the announcement. Joe, what do you make of this?
So when this all started, I was in the same boat thinking Ring of Honor, but also thinking just the tape library, or maybe some sort of deal where he could use the Ring of Honor tape library to help build into a streaming service. And if Tony Khan isn't planning that already, I'm sure it's in the cards. A streaming service has to be coming in through the way somewhere. Throughout the day, though, it was very much the emphasis was streaming service. But then we also had people from across the internet kind of saying, well, if it's a streaming service deal, is that really big enough to announce on Dynamite, on a show where mostly your casual fans are watching and they're looking for something that's going to really raise the bar and make them excited about the product? Buying Ring of Honor, I would argue, is a much bigger deal than buying or having a streaming service and saying, I'm on HBO Max, because a Canadian like me, that doesn't mean much.
Doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. Doesn't mean anything. But if you own Ring of Honor, then guess what? Now I have potential to access all of the library and maybe do more shows, use them as developmental, whatever it is. There's an IP, there is a ring, there's so much that comes with owning the entire Ring of Honor, and the potential for revitalization, because that's what's really needed if Ring of Honor is going to remain as a brand.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, I'm still, you know, when talking to a couple of people after that announcement, a streaming deal is still coming. And even in Tony's press release, that PR release that AEW put out, or Tony put out, I should say, it was pretty clear that in the coming weeks, he is securing some sort of streaming deal, because Honor Club is not going to be the answer here. I don't think Honor Club will serve the need, really, as far as, you know, presenting the product. Listen, I've been subscribed to Honor Club for, many, many years, and I just don't really access it that much, even to go back to watch older shows. It's not something I do. That could be me. It could also be how it's laid out. It could be the website. It could be that it's a little bit of a pain to kind of navigate and figure out. I don't know. It just, for me, it doesn't work that way. But, if there is an HBO Max and there is an AEW channel, and now you have the catalog of AEW pay-per-views, Ring of Honor pay-per-views, Ring of Honor TV, AEW TV, this kind of makes your overall, first of all, your overall product, it's a plus for you. And second, it's still a business, and this is assets. And this is Tony building assets for AEW that puts the potential value of it up even higher. Now, we've heard rumors. I saw Sean Ross Sapp had a great article that came out Wednesday morning about the value of Ring of Honor. I think a lot of people read it wrong, and they assumed that Tony Khan paid $40 million for Ring of Honor. I don't have a price that he paid. I have no idea. I don't think anybody does. But I can't imagine he paid $40 million for this, Joel.
No, I can't imagine it either. I don't. I just don't. And I don't think he got it on pennies on the dollar. Kind of like, we've talked about the WCW deal. I don't think it's anywhere near that. He probably paid well for the IP and for the library. But in terms of how much, I couldn't even begin to give you a number because I never knew what the valuation looked like to begin with. There were talks about someone asking for 50% and being quoted at $30 million for 50%. That was in Sean's report or somewhere along those lines. That's a $60 million valuation. And that was for someone, just coming out and asking if they could buy Ring of Honor. So I don't know. The numbers were all over the place.
I think their YouTube. I'm not certain about this. There's a website that does evaluation of revenue that you make on YouTube, and I think they were making like $400,000 a year on YouTube. So that's a piece to the puzzle right there. Without any TV, which I don't expect Ring of Honor to continue long term on Sinclair products if Sinclair's offloading them. So now you're looking at a product without TV. Has no contractual deals with the wrestlers. And I'm not saying this in a negative way, guys, right? Because I want Ring of Honor to do well. I want Ring of Honor to exist in some sort of capacity. I think what they've done for the industry speaks for itself. They created an entire style that was not recognized by many people as being as a style that was going to prosper and become the future of pro wrestling. But we see that style has become the norm for pro wrestling. I mean, the boom WWE had 2014 on is directly connected to Ring of Honor. AEW directly connected to Ring of Honor, and also New Japan connected to Ring of Honor. So, and now we're seeing Impact, obviously. But the long-term effects of this company over the last 20 years will historically go down as a plus. And for Tony to have that product in his hands, I think we as fans, right, could say, I feel comfortable with this. Now, as for the future of Ring of Honor, couple options here. We have to be careful with what they do, right? This is my opinion here. And Joel, I want to get yours too. I cannot imagine they're going to run weekly TV the way that they've been doing it historically. However, I do see Ring of Honor becoming some sort of developmental program, much like how NXT was an extension of WWE, where you have certain top guys there that should be on the main roster, but are staying there to kind of help the talent and to grow that second brand. I see that happening, but it should become a developmental talent. And listen, you have a studio that you could do this in. You're in Orlando. You're in Universal. You're filming Dark Elevation there anyway. Why not?
There's a silly amount of depth in the AEW locker room. There is wealth of knowledge and wealth of talent. There is no reason not to be showcasing some of that talent that maybe have flown by the wayside.
I'm sorry, Dark, not Dark Elevation, right? Dark.
Yeah. Dark Elevation's live, and then they take
Dark Elevation's live. I don't want to confuse anybody here.
But either way, when you look at Ring of Honor and the way that they could operate as a developmental territory, that's good news, especially as the history of Ring of Honor works much closer to Tony Khan's vision of professional wrestling and AEW than it does in, say, WWE, where we found out that there was overtures at one point or another to potentially purchase Ring of Honor years and years ago. Now, that probably would have been not a great fit. But for Tony Khan to buy it and to potentially resurrect Ring of Honor in his own vision that is similar but a little bit different to what AEW has, there's a lot of potential in that. It doesn't have to be the number 2 or the number 3 or the number 4, but it can certainly build the career and the talent for a lot of wrestlers who are going to get the opportunity to work in front of TVs, to work in front of live crowds that are larger than most independent wrestling shows, and also give the opportunity to move up the ranks. If they perform well in Ring of Honor, move them up to AEW, put them on Dark, put them on Elevation, whatever it could be. The opportunity is there with Ring of Honor.
Very interesting stuff. Very, very interesting stuff here. And I, I'm excited for it. Very much am. So do you think, what is your dream? What do you see happening here?
With Ring of Honor?
Yeah.
Some sort of resurrection. I gotta be honest. At one point, Ring of Honor was doing some incredible stuff. They were making great television. I talked about this earlier on a different podcast, that they ebbed and flowed with their business model and the way that they presented professional wrestling. What was it about the wrestlers? Was it about the storylines? Was it about the characters? Was it about back to wrestling? They had so many changes in how they presented wrestling that they almost lost themselves at one point. And then they kind of came back to it at the pandemic. But unfortunately, people weren't watching because despite the fact that they were putting on great shows with great matches, maybe the character work wasn't working for people. Maybe having no one in the crowd or just an empty space was just not working for people. And also, a lot of people would ask, hey, where can I find Ring of Honor? But
well, that's the biggest question, right?
That's the thing. That's the problem.
That's what everybody says. Where can I watch Ring of Honor? And I mean, is it I don't know? For a lot of people, that's the answer. Like, I'm in New York City. I don't have access to Ring of Honor. How do you watch it?
It was on their website every Monday. You could find it on the Ring of Honor website. They would put it up there. They would play it on Sinclair affiliates on the weekends, I believe. And then they would throw it up on Ring of Honor's website. So maybe you had a delay, but let's face it, the shows were all taped anyway. But you had a good, tight hour. And they were starting to build some characters and build into the pure division and pure wrestling. They had something going. I don't know what they were expecting to get out of it, but it's obviously now going to change completely.
That's the thing here, right? Things are changing. Things are changing. Guys, we're going to go to a break here. When we come back, we're going to run down this card. Very interesting stuff. I need all the Joel Pearl opinions on this thing. One of my favorite guests to have here. Wrestling Observer Live Sports Byline. We'll be right back after this.
Know that you guys have your own segment on your own show that is called RK No or It's True, where you guys do a true and false game about your husbands and wrestling in general. I love that you brought the action figures. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask three of you some true or false questions about your husbands, and you guys just go for it and tell me if it's true or it's false. And I'm actually going to kick things off with Kim. So Kim, we'll do you first, and then we'll go ahead and go with Giovanna. All right, so Kim, here we go. True or false? Randy Orton faced every former member of Evolution at a WrestleMania.
RK No.
Yes, RK No. That is false. Yes, correct. You are correct on this one. Next one. The Undertaker was Randy's first WrestleMania loss.
Oh, I'm going to say it's true.
It is definitely true.
Kurt is right there, and I'm sweating right now. I'm going to get every single one wrong. Oh my God.
Okay, and the last one for Kim. Here we go. Kurt Angle defeated Randy Orton at Vengeance 2006.
I'm going to say it's true.
No, incorrect.
Sorry.
It was the other way around. Randy Orton defeated Kurt Angle.
Okay.
All right. Giovanna, you're next.
I'm not feeling this at all.
Kurt Angle spit milk on the face of a girl he was hitting on in catering. It's true. Yes.
Fuck.
Kurt Angle eliminated himself at the 2002 Royal Rumble. Is it RK No or it's true? It's true.
Do not even look up if he's in there.
I can't even look it up because I feel like it's giving me an eye.
RK No, correct. And last one. Here we go. In one of Kurt's theme songs, the lyrics are "You're numb toe to thumb."
Wait, there's lyrics?
I thought it was just you suck.
I didn't even. I mean, No, right? Oh my God, am I wrong?
You're
Or,
wrong.
you know?
It's true. It's true. This is his Impact Wrestling theme, the gold medal song. The
Oh
full
my
lyrics
God,
are, I'll
God,
work
it's
you over till I
so
steal your motor skills. It's the same whenever I'm done. You're numb, toe to thumb. And then it continues on.
I forgot, and I like that theme song too. It reminded me of Jurassic
Yeah.
Park, which is weird. But
Yeah.
I like that. I swear, you seriously, if you listen to it, you'll think of it too. But oh my God.
I hope you guys all enjoyed watching It's True, and Arcane No with Giovanna Angle and Kim Orden. I had a great time playing with them. Before I go, I want to make sure to invite you guys all to check out my show, Speak Now Pro Wrestling, which takes place on the F4W Online Twitch and YouTube channels. Plus, you can also listen to the audio version available on f4wonline.com. I'll see you on the next video.
Wrestling Observer Live. Andrew Zarian here. Sunday edition of the show. AEW Revolution coming up in 30 minutes here. I like these Sunday shows. I take my time. It's nice and chill. I have a great producer at Sports Byline. I have a great producer here. And, of course, I got a great co-host, Joel Pearl.
Hey.
Fightful Overbooked. On the Matt Man podcast, now on Wrestling Observer Live. You're everywhere, man. You're doing so much in wrestling, and I have to tell you, I absolutely love watching your content. We got to know each other over the last year or so. We hung out in Vegas. I'm loving this little synergy we've created in the world of pro wrestling media. It's fantastic.
It's the best. Honestly, anyone who just wants to talk about wrestling and just enjoy it and talk about the good, the bad, and sometimes the ugly. That's all I'm for. Let's have some fun, man. It's wrestling. It's
Listen,
wrestling.
man,
Let's have fun.
It's wrestling. It's wrestling. And that's what I tell
Yep.
people. Don't go crazy. Enjoy it. If you love it, watch it. If you like it, watch it. If you're okay with it, watch it. If you hate it, don't watch it.
Take a break.
Take a break. That's what I say. So let's go into this card. A lot to talk about. Let me find the notes here with the matches. Here we go. I should be prepared here, but I'm not. So main show starts at 8 p.m. Obviously, we have the buy-in at 7 p.m., which is on YouTube. You can watch it here on YouTube or I don't know. I think it's wherever else they're airing. I don't know. It's gonna, 3 matches here. Layla Hirsch, Chris Statlander, House of Black versus Death Triangle, and Hook versus QT Marshall, the match I'm looking forward to. Which one of these, Matt? Give me your call on all 3 of these.
First of all, Hook versus QT, that should have been on the main card, and that should have been the match in between whatever comes before the main event and some bloody feud. Let's say the dog collar match and then the main event, the AEW Championship. You should have put Hook versus QT in the middle, just because it would have been a great little squash match. I would have wanted that.
What you would want that? That's what you wanted?
I wanted, let's say, in the top 3, dog collar match, Hook QT, and then I wanted the AEW Championship, because Hook versus QT is like this. It's a feud that everyone knows what's going to happen, but it's so entertaining. Like, it's just a little bit of levity coming out of something so intense, like a dog collar match, for example, then going into a big AEW Championship match. It would have been a perfect spot just to have Hook get his first win in like a 2-minute span. Easy peasy.
So I don't know if you guys, I'm going to break the fourth wall here a little bit. So we have our producer at Sports Byline, obviously, and I have John, my lifelong companion of a producer. He's done every show I've ever done. He has produced, and I hear it in my ear, but I don't know if you guys do. But I heard an "oh no" at one point while you were talking, Joel, and I was like, "Oh no, what happened?" He's like, "No, I just forgot to pop my mic there." And I'm like, "Okay, thank God."
I thought he was going to be like, Joel's going to give an awful take.
I know. He was like, Joel's giving a terrible take here. Main show, we have the Face the Revolution ladder match. Keith Lee, Powerhouse Hobbs, Ricky Starks, Orange Cassidy, Wardlow, and Christian Cage. This is the Keith Lee showcase. A lot of people want to see what Keith Lee's going to do, and obviously people want to see what Wardlow's going to do in this. Those are the 2 big names in this match. Obviously, Christian Cage, Powerhouse Hobbs, Ricky Starks, Orange Cassidy, all fantastic. But for me, my personal interest, I really want Keith Lee to be presented as the Keith Lee I've seen in PWG and in Evolve and everywhere else I've seen him on the indies. I think it's been a little bit, he's getting that going again. He's slowly getting that going. He's getting the stink of the last couple months in WWE off of him. He's a Bearcat. No more. Who takes this?
It's got to be Wardlow, right?
You think so?
That's the big moment. That's the Wardlow starts to break through, and then MJF and Wardlow is the next step in their story. Christian Cage is there just to, direct traffic because he is a ladder match veteran, and it'll be fine. But I mentioned on another show, I was like, Christian Cage is kind of there, is like this morbid curiosity because it's Christian Cage is,
and it's a ladder match
and so on and so forth. It's a ladder match, but he'll be fine. I really do think he'll be fine. But I think it's Wardlow's time for this match. This is his opportunity. And you're right, Keith Lee, there is opportunity there for him to be showcased. It's time for him to start putting himself back together. I have a lot of respect and admiration for Keith Lee, but I haven't seen what I want to see from him yet. And I'm going to reserve judgment until I see that from him.
Listen, he had a tough bout with COVID. Obviously, I've worked in many creative positions. Obviously not, I haven't wrestled, but I've been in a lot of jobs that require your creative take. And if you are at a bad job, it takes a lot to get that creativity back, right? If you are, you're submitted into becoming something you're not, it kind of changes your whole perspective. He's getting it going. I'm very confident that he's going to be there. Tornado tag match, Andrade. You may look at me and say, hey, listen, this guy kind of looks like Andrade. No. I am the Wish version of Andrade. And also Drew McIntyre, according to the internet. You order an Andrade, guess what? You end up with an Andrew Zarian. You order a Drew McIntyre, you end up with an Andrew Zarian. I can't help you with that. It's not my fault. I can't do anything about this face. Andrade, Isaiah Cassidy, and Matt Hardy versus Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, and Sting. Is this where we see Jeff Hardy return?
I thought about that. It would be cool, but I have a challenge for AEW tonight. Do not debut a soul. Don't debut anybody.
Don't do it.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying for just this time. Don't debut anybody. Give me a great show with excellent wrestling and great results. You don't need to surprise me with the oh my god he's here. I don't need it. I need to see your current depth continue to grow and the stories within it continue to grow. Bring me Jeff Hardy on Wednesday. That's fine. But
yeah, man. I'm. Either way, I'm happy with it. I'm fine with it. But, you could obviously see how they're going to do this. This is my prediction. I haven't been given the script or anything. But maybe Matt causes the loss. They start beating him up. They kick him out. If you're going to debut him, here comes his brother. They have a little Hardy's moment. And then you're going into whatever you're going to do with them. Or you save it for Wednesday. You save the whole thing for Wednesday. And here comes Jeff Hardy on Wednesday. I think the story was that, is Swerve debuting next week?
Is that the rumor? He lives in Orlando. He's not necessarily on the card tonight, but who knows when he'll show up.
Another great worker, man. Another fantastic wrestler.
I'm excited.
Yeah, very
supposedly
cool stuff.
Very bought into him.
Yeah. Jade Cargill, Tay Conti. I'm into Jade. I know a lot of people aren't, man, but she's impressive.
Yeah, continues to grow, get better. She's awesome. Just looking forward to her continuing to find success and have breakthrough matches. Don't know how I feel about this one against Ty Conchi. Let it be a squash, if anything.
That's how you build it. I don't think they're going to do a squash. By the way, this pay-per-view is long. This is going to be a very long pay-per-view. If you think this is going to be like the Saudi show from last week or 2 weeks ago, where it ended miraculously in under 3 hours, you're not getting that. I think it's going to go to like 11:45.
Oh my god! And then you got post shows and scrums. Yeah, it's gonna be a long.
You know what? I am not. I'm gonna be in Vegas. By the way, the convention. I want to give this a little plug. The F4W Wrestling Observer convention in Las Vegas this year. Head on over to f4wonline.com to find out more information. There's going to be a bunch of stuff: a Q&A, a dinner, a suite party. There's so much going on with Dave and Brian, and I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there hanging out with you guys. So a lot of fun. When we come back, guys, we're going to go into the rest of this card. The meat and potatoes. We're going to talk about that. Wrestling Observer Live, Andrew Zarian here. Sports Byline. We'll be back right after this.
Q&A with Impact Wrestling's Mike Bailey, Part 1. This is my favorite way for, the people watching to get to know you as a person and who you are, outside of the wrestling ring. So let's go ahead and jump right into it.
Wrestling Observer Live, Andrew Zarian here, Sunday edition. My co-host Joel Pearl joining me, going through this card. Big card. Mega matches. A lot of matches. Before we went to break, we were talking about Jade Cargill and Tay Conti. What do you think of the three-way? Three-way tag title match, Joel. Jurassic Express, Young Bucks, and Red Dragon. This is obviously going to create a division between the Bucks and Red Dragon. Who do you think wins this title? Or keeps it?
I gotta see Jurassic Express keep that title. I do. I don't think we're done with them yet. I think we're still building Jungle Boy, and having Luchasaurus there is great. I want the Bucks and the Red Dragon to cancel each other out, basically, and then have Jurassic Express maybe escape with it, but at least win it and retain those titles.
Yeah.
And then start Bucks and Red Dragon moving into Double or Nothing territory.
Yeah, because you're going to eventually... the Jurassic Express right now, they're in a great position to have those titles. But the big question is going to be, how long do you keep it on them? What do you do after they lose it? There's so much upside for both those guys as singles, right? Especially Jungle Boy. That guy is, currently AEW's future. That's their young original talent. So we'll see what happens with that. But I'm excited to see this. Obviously, it's going to be a great match and a lot of great spots in this match. AEW Women's Championship, Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa. Is this Thunder Rosa's moment?
So here's where they got us this week. On Dynamite, you had Thunder Rosa pinning Britt Baker. So now, do you do the go-home math, as our friend Steven Larson say, where the champion gets pinned by the challenger, therefore the champion's going to retain at the pay-per-view, or is it finally Thunder Rosa's time? And there's another thing to toss into this whole thing, Andrew. In about 10 days, AEW is going to be in San Antonio, which is Thunder Rosa's hometown. And it's going to be the St. Patrick's Day Slam event. For all intents and purposes, it's around the same time. And they did a match last year between Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa that was lights out, unsanctioned, yada, yada, yada. Maybe a year later, it's time for Thunder Rosa to win it at home in some sort of big match. And tonight, Britt Baker just escapes with that title somehow.
I think that's a great... I didn't even think of that. I didn't even realize they were in San Antonio. That's not a bad idea either. I think for Britt, she solidified herself as top of that division. And amazingly, she did this with an injured wrist throughout, what was it? Her nose, her wrist. She was banged up for a while throughout that entire era where there was nobody there. And she really became a great promo. She became a real standout in that company. However, I do think it's time to move that title to someone else. I think Thunder Rosa deserves it. She's worked super hard, and she's a great act. Fantastic act in that company. I'm going with Thunder Rosa. My own selfish reasons. I just want her to win it. What else do we got here? We got Chris Jericho, Eddie Kingston from Yonkers.
I was waiting for that.
Yonkers' own Eddie Kingston, Yonkers, New York. This is a very interesting match to me. This is Eddie Kingston is great. If you've watched him wrestle, I've seen him wrestle for the last 20 years in the Northeast. Chris Jericho, one of the best. These guys are really going to try to put on a fantastic match. And by the way, Chris looks great. You guys have to see how shredded this guy is. The last match he had in that tag match, he was moving fantastically, I'm going to say. He was moving unbelievably well. Better than his entire run. I think he was really quick. Obviously, he dropped all that weight. What should they do here, Joel? This is a heel Chris Jericho going into this, right?
It is, and I think, oh God, the fans want Eddie Kingston to win, and I can't blame them. This is maybe Eddie Kingston's opportunity to have a big win on pay-per-view. Jericho loses nothing. The bigger story is Jericho and Eddie Kingston and Proud and Powerful and where they come into play. So I think they're going to influence the finish of the match. I don't know to whose side, but I think Eddie Kingston wins. I just think it's time for him to move something forward, have a different title match or something that builds Eddie Kingston more.
Yeah, if Jericho goes over on Kingston, which I would not dislike, I think it would be it wouldn't be a bad idea because he's such a good heel. I mean, he's a great pandering babyface also, but he's such a good heel. And to really make the crowd, you could do a lot with this. You could turn the crowd heavy on him and they're booing the hell out of it, everything he's doing. Or you have Eddie win and you do something else with that. I think Eddie Kingston, they need good baby faces like him. He's a strong baby face. People really like him. He's a very likable guy. They could do a lot with this. You know what? It's going to be a hell of a match regardless.
If Jericho wins, I can almost see him and Hangman Page at Double or Nothing.
Oh,
I can see them running that back for the title with a totally different Hangman Adam Page and a totally different Chris Jericho.
And Hangman retains it, maybe.
I would love to see that. And maybe
Yeah.
that builds up to the return of Kenny Omega after Hangman retains at Double or Nothing, assuming he retains tonight.
Yeah. Kenny's the wild card here, right? In all of
Yes.
this, because he did that interview with Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio with Garrett and Dave. Fantastic interview, by the way. And he was talking about how there's been delays with the recovery of his injury and the rehab of his injury and the surgeries due to COVID and a couple other things. But, maybe he is healed up. Maybe he is. Maybe he's a surprise waiting to happen in the coming weeks. We'll find out. We got the dog collar match. The New York came out of me. You saw that?
I did.
Collar. Dog collar match. CM Punk MJF. Now this is gonna be. I think CM Punk put out a tweet saying get the rain jackets ready, right? The plastic rain thing, because it's gonna be like a Gallagher moment. I'm gonna date myself. Does anybody know who Gallagher is? Do you know who Gallagher is?
I do. Get me a
Okay.
giant watermelon. I'll show you.
Get a giant watermelon. I'll show you. And then there was Gallagher 2. That was his brother that also did it. I don't think people know
That's
that. So
true.
Gallagher was a
Didn't remember
comic in the 80s, and he was smashed. The 1980s were a wild time here in the world. It's not a real thing, the 1980s. I'm going to start a rumor that this was a figment of our imagination. 1980s never happened. We went from like 76 to like 1996. 20 years, nothing happened. He used to smash watermelons, and that was his whole bit. It's unbelievable. The Sledge-O-Matic.
Got over with it too.
Got over with it. What a great gimmick. So these guys are going to, they're big Piper fans. Piper Valentine, one of the greatest dog collar matches of all time. These guys are going to try everything. What should they do here, Joel? Because I want to see, you know what? I want to see CM Punk win. I also want to see MJF win.
I want to see them bleed.
I want to see them. Yeah. I think a lot of people do.
I did a retrospective on Fightful Overbooked about important dog collar matches. And we talked about Piper and Valentine. And we talked about Raven and CM Punk. And we talked about, most people don't know this, MJF has been in dog collar matches himself. This isn't his first. He had one against Ethan Page in Ethan Page's A1 promotion in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. And there's a spot in that dog collar match that I think MJF needs to bring back tonight.
What was
and
it?
It is so they're both wearing their dog collar chains right around their neck, the chokers. The chain can come off if you unscrew it from the neck and take the chain off. So what MJF did was, while he's on the floor selling, he pops off the collar, the chain collar. He keeps the collar on, but he pops the chain off the collar, and then he scurries away through the crowd. He's invisible. No one knows where he is.
Oh, that's
and
great.
then he shows up behind Ethan Page and just wallops him. At the end of the day, Ethan Page won the match. He was the big baby face. But that's a spot that I want to see MJF bring back tonight for that match versus CM Punk. I don't know who wins this match. I think MJF wins it, and maybe CM Punk can just start really going into a descent into madness and start turning hardcore heel.
You know what? The descent into madness. We saw that in that promo that they posted on Friday. They on Rampage. If you didn't see it, by the way, that opening match was fantastic. If you didn't see it on Rampage, they cut a promo of CM Punk getting medical assistance in the back, and he just becomes a madman with the blood all over him. His shirt is all bloody, and I'm like, man, what a great, what a believable, looking dead into the camera. You could see the anger in his eyes. I'm like, what great storytelling this was. In a matter of minutes, he was able to really convince you that this is a important match, and they've done a great job with this build-up. This program is one of the reasons why people at the networks at USA and Fox, because of my outside of pro wrestling, working in media in New York and being a consultant on a bunch of projects, they're asking me about this guy. And I'm like, yeah, man, he's fantastic. And WWE, if they could get him, they're going to want him in 2024. Obviously, MJF is playing that up a little bit. It goes with the character. But this is the reality. He's really solidified himself as an unbelievable heel in this business at only, at such a young age. It's unbelievable. I called one of his early matches. I think it was 2016. I called it in Long Island at the NYWC Arena, which is essentially a garage, like a giant garage. I called one of his matches for NLW. Me and JD from New York were calling that. So the dog collar match, I'm going to go with CM Punk. Let's see what happens. And obviously the main event, Hangman Page and Adam Cole.
Oh, you're missing one. Hold on.
What am I missing? Oh my God, I missed it.
Brian
Danielson
and
and John Moxley. Go into this.
I'm going to put it very simply. Do not bleed in this match. I know this match is all about bleeding because John Moxley is saying, I don't work with anyone unless I bleed with them. I want Bryan Danielson, who's been in the media this week, saying, I don't agree with bleeding. I don't agree. Basically playing the sports entertainer, quote unquote, and saying, I don't want to do this. I need Bryan Danielson to take every single opportunity to try and escape without bleeding and to win this match. But I think Moxley wins. I don't think there's blood. I think that's a bit of a red herring in the story.
You know what? They might not be. And I think Moxley's winning it too.
You've got already a dog collar match that's supposed to be filled with gore. Why do it twice? Why do it more than once on a card? Let it be the dog collar match that produces the most gore.
It's it is fun to talk about wrestling like this. This has brought me back. And listen, WWE, for all that they do, right? All the bad that they do, they also do some great stuff. And obviously today is very AEW centric. We're going to talk about that. And we're out of time, so I don't think we're gonna go into the MSG stuff. But with that said, this is a lot of excitement when you're talking about wrestling. This reminds me of, 97, 98 again. And going on the forums and reading everything that was going on. Before we run out of time, let's go through the other matches. I'm going with Moxley also. And we have the main event. Hangman Page versus Adam Cole for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. This is going to be an unbelievable match. And by the way, this is going to be a great test for Adam Cole. His first mega, for both obviously, but his first mega match in AEW, world title match. Obviously, they're going to want to do everything that they can to sell you that these two are the future of this company, which they are. They're solidified already. How do you think this goes?
I got to see Hangman win. I do. And at the end of the day, this is his match to win. Adam Cole will have other opportunities to hold that championship, but I don't think it's now. And if he does win it now, then I think Kenny's back a lot closer than we thought. And if that's the case, cool. But I still want to see Hangman's ascent. I want to see those big matches build Hangman Page as a viable champion. Yeah. He continues to grow and he continues to build, but this is the first big test for Adam Page on a pay-per-view. Yeah. I want to see that play out.
Yeah. People are like, you skipped the ladder match. I'm like, no, I didn't, bro. We spoke about the ladder match 2 segments ago. We did. Yes. We spoke about the ladder match. So I'm what if there's a funky finish to this? Maybe, what if you get someone does a run? Obviously, the Bucks will maybe try to do a run in, but maybe we get Omega that shows up. And you can start that program with Omega and Cole because that was the last thing we saw, right? We saw that program building up between the two. Very interested in this. Wrestling Observer Live, Andrew Zarian, Sunday edition. We'll be right back after this on Sports Byline USA.
Here we go. Question number 1. Who are your top 3 all-time favorite wrestlers?
Okay. Tiger Mask 1, Satoru Sayama, Kenny Omega, and Will Ospreay.
Question number 2. What's the coolest city you have ever wrestled in and a city you would like to wrestle in?
I have wrestled. So Tokyo is the coolest city. I think it's the best city for professional wrestling. It's for a reason. It's the city that has probably the most pro wrestling shows on a daily basis. I would love to wrestle in Moscow. I'd love to wrestle in Russia. I think Russia is a place that will have a booming wrestling scene sometime soon, but doesn't quite yet. And I know there's interest for wrestling there, and it looks fascinating.
Number 3, what is the best Canadian snack or restaurant that you don't see here in the United States?
Okay, so I could talk about poutine forever and the rules behind it and what make it poutine, because it's only 3 ingredients. It's French fries, gravy, and curd cheese, but it's so easy to mess up. In fact, I know this because that was a topic of conversation this weekend. If you go on Google image and put in Putin, 90% of the images you see on the first page are not Putin.
What?
Yeah, they're not. I'm sorry. If you have that's another 30-minute conversation. But yeah, all dressed ruffles, the legendary all dressed ruffles, which I'm sure you've heard about.
I have actually, yeah.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, the best chips in the world, the best snack. I mean,
Never had them, but I have seen like people talk about it, but I've never experienced them.
there's hype for a reason. It's not just hype. It's not just a myth or something. They're really the best potato chip flavor.
Interesting. All right, question number 4. If someone could play the movie of your life, who would you want it to be?
I would want it to be animated. And I
Oh,
would
yeah.
I would want my character to be voiced by Joe Pera.
Oh, okay. Okay.
If you don't know who Joe Pera is, please YouTube him. He's known for a very specific voice. But I would want it to be animated and voiced by Joe Pera.
Is it like a deep voice, like squeaky voice?
It's a very soothing grandpa-like voice.
Very like ASMR sort of thing, calms you down,
Yes.
relaxes
Yes.
you.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you for watching my Q&A with Mike Bailey. We will be back with another part.
Wrestling Observer Live, Andrew Zarian here. Joel Pearl joining me today. Final minutes of the show. Hey, guys, listen. I'm going to tell everybody, right after this show, I'm live. I'm live with my watch-along for the next 18 hours. Watching AEW Revolution with you guys. If you're watching on YouTube, you're watching on Twitch, or you listen on the radio, head on over to the F4W YouTube account, Wrestling Observer YouTube account. If you're there already, it's going to dump you into my other stream right on the page. We're going to be here for the next couple hours talking all things AEW Revolution. You know, grab a drink, grab a glass of water, order your food, and let's hang out. And you're doing a watch along also.
You bet. Over at youtube.com/FightfulOverbooked. That's where you can find me 99.9% of the time talking about wrestling and all the crazy other stuff that goes on.
It's going to be a fun night. You know, I don't want to spoil anything, but I do not expect this pay-per-view to not do well. I think this is going to be a lot of fun tonight. You know, longevity-wise, I think people are going to get a little tired, but the fatigue kicks in after a while. But listen, man, you know, I'm doing a watch-along. A lot of you guys are doing it on the couch, watching on the couch. A lot of you guys are watching in bed. Enjoy it. Let me do the heavy lifting here and be exhausted tomorrow when I go to work in the morning. I just feel like, listen, you know, this is cool stuff. Very cool stuff. Joel, well, where can people find you?
I'm easy to find. I'm at Joel Pearl, JoelPearl, everywhere. You can follow me there. I'm pretty okay. I'm all right, you know.
If there's one thing you're looking forward to, what is it tonight?
Honestly, I'm looking forward to a cohesive show. I want to see that from AEW, and I'm looking forward to the dog collar match. Honestly, more than anything. That's what I want to see.
Guys, that's it for this week. We're out of time. Join me for my watch along right after this. We'll see you all next week. Wrestling Observer Live, Andrew Zarian, Sports Byline USA. Take care, everybody.